Reggie, I'm up, yeah.
If everybody in the world knew the advancements AI has seen in the last year alone, I have no idea if we'd be fearing for our lives or saving more. In this episode, we're covering new trends in the artificial intelligence space, covering how it affects health, politics, entertainment, and news. Joining me tonight is Reggie, Phil, and Anthony. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about was health, artificial intelligence, and the ethics behind it. So knowing you guys are the AI experts coming on this show here, knowing the background and what you've seen in advancements with AI, are you at all concerned about the ethics and health around artificial intelligence in the next 5-10 years?
Certainly. Yeah,
Okay, so about what though?
So I don't honestly I think prior to coming on, we were talking about just what are the ethics about having people live so long and all that stuff and trying to extend their life. And then what are the ethics about knowing when you die? So it's, for example, if you live too long, that there's other ripple effects within society, like the economy, all that kind of stuff.
Can the world handle that? We're talking about overpopulation now.
And we also have to consider what else is AI affecting in that time span as well. Is it removing jobs? Is it doing this? It's what we might have to change our whole way of living.
Yep. Reggie, what are your thoughts, just based on what you've
It
seen?
just reminds me of this hot take I saw on Twitter 2 weeks ago. And it said, if you're under the age of 40, be ready to live till you're 150.
Oh my God.
Right? And it just went clook in my brain a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I was like, maybe.
What
you
does
know what
living,
I mean?
okay, wait, Anthony, in your eyes, what does living till 150 look like for you with AI?
Excited about it?
I've seen what people look like at 65. I don't know if I'm excited to live till 150. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go that far because I don't know. Can our bodies handle that? Can we handle walking at 150? I don't want to be confined to a wheelchair for 50 years.
Well, you will have cybernetic implants, different arms, legs, and everything as well.
Yeah. And isn't as you age, a lot of it is like your brain. And then if they trick your brain, can't AI just trick your brain into thinking that you can walk more upright or that your back's fixed? I don't know. You guys talk to me about it. I mean, so let me ask you this. There's this company, this is kind of where it's started, right. I think, is Nico Health has come out, founded by one of the co-founders of Spotify, or co-founded, and he partnered with a doctor, and basically as you go in, you get a scan, and they measure every mole on your body, they do blood tests without sticking anything in you, they have 70 plus sensors that measure millions of data points on your body. I mean, they could tell you if your family has a background with heart disease or cancer, whatever it may be, they could tell you that you're at risk for that based on these things, and they can catch it early. That's a good advancement in health, right?
Yeah, obviously that's very good for your health aspect and living longer. But the concern I would have is that's a lot of data on you. That's a lot of people knowing a lot of things about your blood pressure, basically everything about you. And then my concern would be is that data safe? For example,
how much would pharmaceutical companies pay for that data?
Exactly. And then it's and then next thing you know, you're getting ads thrown at you that are specific for your body thing and getting these cravings and all that and all that jazz.
That's the only reason why I do not do 23andMe. It's because of the fact that, I come from a decentralized world. So all intents and purposes, anything centralized that owns my data is a little bit terrifying generally. So being able to think of that perspective that if you're going to go ahead and provide all of your medical data to one central area who now owns your data, and data being the most important resource in the world now, that it's terrifying.
So let me ask you, you guys understand the advancements in AI, you follow it closely. What have you seen in the health sector that scares you recently with artificial intelligence?
Well, it's for the progress and it does for health. I'm very excited about that. But my only worry, as I mentioned, is how much data are they taking up from you? What are you doing? With great power comes great responsibility. So it's as long as it's it has to be these are good intentions. We're not talking for example, as you mentioned, the pharmaceutical industry. We don't want this getting into
So what if, so when we talk about, you say healthcare's underfunded all the time, and you joke about it being sometimes intentional.
It's not a joke.
Okay.
It's not a joke, it's real.
But think about it, on the good side, you could have somebody go into an emergency room, artificial intelligence could do an automatic, dental companies are using this, could do an automatic scan of your body, tell you what's wrong, brief the doctors, and they can know whether they need to treat you right away or not. But is that relying too heavily on AI? Or is that supportive?
But why is that a bad thing? I don't think that's, I don't think, so the actual theory of it is what I'm excited about. And I completely understand the gentleman on the panel about their concerns with security. That's why we have government bodies to regulate things, and we have to have responsible governing to go with that. But I think the advancements in healthcare will be very good in the future.
We'll have to leave it there. We'll be right back.
I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah. I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah.
In 2020, 85% of deepfake videos online were used for misinformation or political manipulation, according to Sensity. Have any of you seen these clips on YouTube? Now, let's take a quick look at this, guys. Take a look.
Guys, would you rather have 10 sons or 10 daughters?
10 sons for sure.
Same for me, 10 sons.
I would like to have 10 daughters.
Who the hell invited Ice Spice here?
Okay, so have you guys seen any of those? The whole Trump, Obama, Biden. I mean, they even brought like George Bush back.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely just pure.
Hour.
Like, literally.
Is this a good use of AI?
I don't know if it's a good.
Like I laugh at it, I do, but I mean, like you can. Trump's voice, he has a very unique voice. You're very good.
You know what? You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember on our calculators when we would write the word boobless?
Oh,
this is that version on the AI thing.
That's what. That's the stupid. Okay, so let's take a listen to 2 clips here. We're gonna play them back to back, and I want you guys to guess which one's AI and which one's a real person. Okay, let's take a listen.
Multi-level, multi-door, multi-family. Introducing the highly anticipated 3-in-1 multi-generational homes by Pinewood Niagara Builders.
At our restaurant, the vibes rule and taste buds drool.
Okay, thoughts. First clip.
I think everything's AI personally.
So this is what's scary is I ordered the first one off of Fiverr from a genuinely guaranteed real person who could have used some, editing in it to make it, because it did seem like it was cutting it out, but it was a real person, the first one. Second one was AI. Does that surprise you?
No, actually, I will say,
okay, go.
It kind of doesn't. I had that initial sneaky suspicion because what happened was the first audio clip, her voice kind of went up and down a lot more than an AI.
Oh, so you look at vocal inflection.
Yeah, so when you think of it, it's the emotion. That's a lot of AI can't really
Will
reflect
AI
that.
ever be able to, because listen, I think when AI can reflect emotion, they can start, when it relates to politics, they can strike a really deep chord. I mean, politicians, their whole speech is based on emotion, getting people emotionally riled up. So are you afraid of this?
Well,
I clipped him on the radio. I clipped Nancy Pelosi saying this.
Yeah, but that's why we have governing bodies and we have laws. And if you're going to do something like that is supposed to be used for malicious intent, there should be punishment for that.
What kind of punishment?
I don't know.
Should they go to jail?
What do we, Fred Armisen in that show? Right to jail.
I
don't know what we're going to do.
I'm going to be honest though. At what point does it get a little concerning? Because
first of all, it should be concerning that someone is even allowed to take your face and make you say something and pass it off as news and have it shared to millions of people on Facebook.
So let's say they find out the person who did that. What should be their consequence?
I think it depends on what it caused. Like, for example, I think recently there was someone who was high up in a company and they deep faked him and it actually manipulated a stock price.
Yeah.
So that's
totally use case.
Wait. But Elon Musk has manipulated stock prices off Twitter based on just him being a person and saying what he says based on his influence.
Yeah.
So how is it different?
Well, he pays the fine and he just keeps keeps doing it.
He also has far too much money than any person. But he's also, I should say this because I know we have a Tesla driver on the panel, so I'm quite fond of the electric vehicles he makes. So
okay, so let me ask you guys this: did you ever see the Nancy Pelosi video of her slurring her words and how it was fake?
Yeah.
So that was huge, and from what I understand, so it was like 2019 or 2020. It was a little bit ago. So it's not as believable. But back then, people didn't know.
Here's the thing, okay, this is going to be a line that might be maybe used more often than not. AI in moderation. That actual video is interesting because it only slightly made it a little different, enough to make you believe it, not to go full-fledged and that is scary because then ultimately for the purposes of bad, for the purposes of good, awesome.
So okay, wait. So let's talk about a solution here because I do want to focus on that. Artificial intelligence being used in politics. I say you just ban it. Make a serious punishable act, especially near an election time. If we're using AI to manipulate, even in my opinion, algorithms to influence how people vote.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
100% agree. And sorry, I just feel like you go ahead.
I'm just agreeing.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
The reason why is because like in this climate that we live in right now, people have an idea of what they want to believe in, and they look for reasons to support the thing that they
Right,
believe.
and AI is just going to be the echo chamber. Like, boom,
I think that this is only going to drive us more further away from each other. It's going to make more political discourse. Because, I found this video of Nancy Pelosi slurring her words. That's not even a real video. But people are not going to care because it came from their camp, their side of the bench. I actually agree with you on this. I'm not really one to make laws. I don't believe, I'm not a lawmaker. But yeah, there should be punishment for it. And we've already had manipulated media in elections without artificial intelligence. Both the liberals and the conservatives have gotten in trouble for that in the last election.
So let me quickly, House of Commons, forget MPs and MPPs. They're avatars and they debate. Just sit on that for a second. We'll be right back with entertainment and AI.
I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah. I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah.
In the last year, a strike occurred in Hollywood where over 10,000 writers refused to work. Rightfully so, with the advance of streaming platforms in 2007, 2008, threatening the way that they receive pay, they wish to defend the hard work they put into films. Now, with the advance of AI, their jobs are threatened more than ever. This poses a larger question, though. What does the advance of artificial intelligence mean in the entertainment sector? So one of my first questions, I asked ChatGPT to make a video talking about my generation. Guys, let's take a quick look at the screen here and take a look.
Gen Z is the future. But to shape it, we need to engage in politics. Politics impacts everything from climate change to education. And if we don't step up, someone else will make the decisions for us. Watch my generation to see how young leaders are changing the game and how you can too. Your voice matters. Get involved, stay informed, and let's create a future that works for us all.
Okay, so do you guys think that video creation and in the entertainment space, we talk about Hollywood, that strike was a serious thing in 07, 08. There was like 11,500 writers that went on strike and shows were just not being made. It was bad.
Yeah.
Do you see us being able to get to a point where AI can actually craft shows and write like emotional dialogues? It's not there yet. I don't see AI and emotion going anywhere near each other.
I feel like they're striving for that, but I do like AI in the media production business more as a collaborator as opposed to like being the art itself. Like, for example, using it in post-production, very helpful. Finding like cues and where to find an edit or helping find things in scripts or things of that nature, super helpful. I think on like scanning actors, actresses, and then using that likeness, that there's a lot of debate there. For example, me personally, I would love to scan myself as long as I can be in control of that likeness. And if an agency wanted to like, hey, we want to use your model and here's a script we want to use and here's some money or whatever.
It comes down to the idea of is AI a tool or a replacement? And in what area? So when we talk about entertainment, Reggie, what are you saying?
It's a tool. It should be a tool. A lot of people sometimes don't use it as just a tool. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like I talk to a lot of creatives, and a lot of creatives typically use AI. The ones that do use AI, they use it for inspiration, brainstorming, coming up with ideas that are sometimes out of the box. If you're creative, you know that certain times you're going to get a writer's block. You're just getting stuck from a creative standpoint. AI allows you to kind of get out of that and think a little bit outside of that, and actually helps quite a lot from a creative standpoint.
It's like bouncing off from another brain. But my challenge is that replaces then a room, because when you're crafting a show, it's a room of writers, 10 of them, let's say. There's hierarchy with the writers, but they all collaborate together to come up with creative ideas. Now, all we have to say is, okay, that room now becomes 5, 3, 2, and 1 with an AI bot.
It'll definitely take the heart away from the art, and I don't think like that's and that's not something we want to like actually do, because like obviously like movies are like emotionally driven, and you need that to like have that connection when you're watching a movie, when you want to cry, when you want to laugh, and do all that jazz. I personally, like if you want to do like an infomercial, I think great. Like use like an AI model of yourself. I do think companies are trying to strive, like,
but they'll never get. I don't think they'll get there. Like Anthony, what are you thinking?
They might not need to.
I don't think it'll ever replace anything, because you'll know when something's written by ChatGPT. I think people will get lazy with it very quickly. Look at TikTok. Look at when people do videos and they don't even have time to actually edit their own captions and the words are spelled wrong, because I just think it's about I think it's just more about actually making content frequently than actually making something worth watching. So basically, we're like, for me, this reminds me of the Friday the 13th series. They did it once. It was crappy, but we got 9 other movies. Sorry, but it was. And I just think people are just wanting to make content with it. You are going to know when it's made by ChatGPT. You're going to know when it's crap. I've seen scripts written by it. It's very, very stereotypical. But I just know people will get lazy with it. TikTok, they won't edit their captions. And the emotion you mentioned from the actors and actresses come from them reading the dialogue and interpreting the information by saying it.
Some of the best. Sorry,
That's a really good point, actually, because and that touched an idea that Gary Vee gave and his ideas of what social media will be like in 2025. And one aspect of it is, first off, AI is definitely going to be part of everything related to social media. But part of that is also the fact that AI is a tool to help be able to be more frequent with creating posts, be able to add more of your emotional element towards it. So basically, as part of it, what you're going to probably see, as he says, in 2025 for most of social, as it relates to any kind of creatives, is that AI is partly there to be able to help you get to where you're trying to go, but streamline it and help you be able to go ahead and not just create the content completely for you, but to help you basically put the ideas that you have in your mind that are sometimes hard to get out on paper, be able to get you there so you can make edits and actually make it emotional.
I don't think we should underestimate it, though. Like, I've seen some of these models like that OpenAI is making and whatnot. I think like these streaming companies or movie companies are trying to get it to a point where it's like you come onto your little Netflix platform and you're like, hey, I want Al Pacino and Kirsten Dunst in a romance movie right now.
I'll pause it right there because that's actually that's actually good.
Sorry.
We'll be right back.
I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah. I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah.
The news space is arguably one of the most affected by artificial intelligence, particularly around the discussions of social media platforms using AI to track misinformation. Some say it labels misinformation when it's not misinformation, or that it tampered with elections, voting, and overall manipulation of views and opinions, which we can't deny in some ways it does. In some ways it doesn't. Sometimes we don't even know. One of the questions I had for you guys, Twitter, when Elon Musk purchased it, one of the things that he changed was because, from what I understand, he bought it because he felt like it was too one-sided. They were misrepresenting information. I don't know how true that is or not, but he added a feature where identifying misinformation, people can actually go in and write their own, like it's not done through AI automatically. They can pitch why this is misinformation, and people have the choice to view that information if they want and believe it for themselves. Do you like that? Is that a good feature?
Yeah, Community Notes it's interesting when it first came out. I think that the aspect of it is it makes you feel like that other people are just saying, hey, by the way, this is wrong. And it feels like more of like
it feels more open. It does, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And more transparency in that kind of
like
way.
you get to see the information still, but it's, go.
Now think about it. Now you're getting all this input, and that's a lot of data that now Twitter owns to make new models and whatnot. So for example, you were saying what kind of play maybe Elon had there, but maybe the play was to like acquire more data from
let people do it, collect the data, and then build it for yourself.
Yeah, things
Which,
like
by
that.
the way, he got screwed over. And he put out a number, and then they kind of just held him on it, and then he basically had to buy it.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
So one of the things I bias, news. Right now, news in America, and I would argue in some Canadian news as well, is there's a bias on certain issues. Do we have a problem if AI has a bias in news?
Okay, so one of the clients I work with right now, we're kind of branching more into like an enterprise aspect where it's like we're able to utilize verified humans around the world to be able to train different AI models for enterprise.
Right.
So being able to have like a company that wants to go ahead and say, for instance, they want to say that they want to build an AI, but they want to be able to train it in a way that's current and then relative to their culture and et cetera, whatever it is as part of it. So like that whole aspect, it really depends on the actual model being trained for the purposes of it. If it's trained to lean that way, then that's just the way it's going to go. If it's trained to lean that way, it's going to go that way.
And is that going to influence more or less, like when you look at news, okay, there's bias for sure. From some.
It depends what newspaper you're reading.
But you want to know that the people are working hard to not be biased. That's the main idea. Do you feel like there can be an AI that's not biased?
I don't know. I don't know because my ChatGPT 4 knows how I speak, and I've plugged in political articles into it, and you can kind of see how it's written. See, the news of the 60s and 70s is gone. I think there's always going to be a bias in news. Look at American news. I don't want to name the networks on the platform, but you know who's for what.
Yeah.
Like you just know.
But that's kind of good that you kind of know. this side's for this side, this side's for this side. So depending on what I want to see, I'm going to watch this. I know people that watch both.
You
should watch both.
First of all, you should watch both, but that's not what happens because you have somebody who thinks, I don't know, you have someone that thinks trees can talk. So if the one news reports trees can talk, I'm listening to them because they're confirming what I believe, even though I don't know if it's right or wrong. And that is very destructive.
Now, so when I use ChatGPT for information, because it can scan the web so much faster than what you can, I have it so it gives me every possible perspective on something, and then I research that perspective. So it's just giving me the information, but it's not telling me what its views or opinions are. ChatGPT does a good job at not doing that.
It doesn't, yeah. I mean, like one thing, I use ChatGPT obviously a lot, but also use Anthropic's Claude as well. Yeah. And they're like some of the founders, I think, from OpenAI left to move that. But they're actually specific more towards like building more empathy towards AI. So there's times where it's like, I'll put in something and I'm like, hey, I want to lean more towards this kind of target demographic. And it's just a typical thing as a marketer. I want to like focus on this demographic. And it actually got back to me to say, you should not ignore that demographic right there. You are not being polite with it, and you should include them as well. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to find a target audience.
Let's pause it right there. Right? I gotta end it. This flew by, but this was great, guys. Thank you so much. Personally, in the industry of health, I don't believe artificial intelligence could ever advance enough. We need the assistance in our healthcare systems, and if that means less money, time, and individuals are needed in certain healthcare spaces, that could mean a stronger healthcare system for first to third world countries overall. Now, in contrast, I firmly believe the advancements in the spaces of politics, news, as well as entertainment should be limited while we look to maintain jobs and human emotion in the spaces. But we want to hear from you, especially if you disagreed. Now, with that being said, feel free to join the conversation at My Generation on all platforms. We'll end off with this. Do not simply accept what you are told. Challenge your thinking, engage in differences, and listen to new perspectives. Thank you.
I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah, yeah. I'ma rule the world, I'ma rule the world, yeah. 해가 지고 뜰 때까지 I'm up, yeah.